So what are we doing here today?
We are here today to come together as a community that seems to be broken in these times and really come together for the one thing we all believe in: safety for the kids at school, safety for the teachers, so that when this is all over, we don't come out with some kind of tragedy happening.
And what is it exactly? Is it just the reopening that you're against, or just the reopening guidelines?
I think the guidelines were hastily put together, and they just don't seem safe to me as far as the district looking at the fact that every single classroom, every single school has a different layout, and it seems like they're having a blanket plan that doesn't take into account the reality of each particular location.
Now, I know that there's been, before the pandemic, there was issues with not having air conditioning in certain buildings at some of the high schools, like Costa Mesa High School and middle school. And one of the reopening guidelines is proper ventilation. Has the school district addressed that?
They believe they have. However, a specific example I can give you is there's a building at Newport Harbor High School that it's an older building built in the 70s, and there's one air conditioning system for the entire building, meaning every single classroom exchanges air with every single other classroom. I believe there's 15 classrooms, and because that system is an old system, they can't use the newest and best filters in that system because they're not compatible. So that would mean in my classroom, even if I only have 15 kids in my room, the air is circulating to all of the other classrooms. On top of it, that building doesn't have any windows that open. So there'll be kids in rooms circulating air without any ventilation coming from the outside with an ancient air conditioning system.
For elementary school, they're proposing just 16 kids per class. Is it the same for middle and high school?
We haven't really got a specific number as far as I know. The school district has said they have site-specific plans, but as far as a schedule of who's going to be in my classroom, how many kids are going to be in my classroom, I don't know yet, which also makes it difficult to plan curriculum for the kids.
Who are you holding responsible for this decision?
I think it's like a systemic illness within the district. The communication is very poor. I don't know if the people on the school board really have an understanding of what is going on the different campuses. So there's a lack of communication coming from the top all the way down. I am a site rep, a union site rep, and I can't even tell you how many text messages I've gotten from people, and I'm talking hundreds, since the shutdown occurred, with people asking questions that really shouldn't be my job to answer. This should be planned out. There should be a place for teachers and parents to get their answers, not just get an email on a Friday night when everyone's going for the weekend that sketches out what's happening in the future. It's just a real lack of communication and leadership from the top down.
Do you feel that maybe their push to reopen so quickly is political?
I think, unfortunately, everything going on in the world today is political, but when it comes to safety and this virus, there's no time for politics. It has to be solid, it has to be safe. The analogy that I compare it to is I would not fly on an airline that left the safety in charge of a person who was unqualified, like a flight attendant. I would not fly on an airline that didn't have experts going into each and every single plane, making sure they're safe. And I think that's the same thing that's happening here. I shouldn't be the person who's deciding how I'm going to clean my room, when I'm going to clean my room, on top of trying to teach, or anyone else. It just seems like they're in a big rush, and perhaps it is political.